Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take your source material, we cut through all the complexity, and really just deliver the crucial insights you need. Today, we're diving into something that creates, I think, a lot of anxiety for millions of people. It's this paradox of the 10-year green card. If you're a lawful permanent resident, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
How can your status be permanent when the actual card proving it has this very clear, very hard expiration date? It just doesn't seem to add up.
It is a huge source of stress, but the good news is we can clear this up right now. The simple fact is this. Your status as a lawful permanent resident never, ever expires.
Okay.
But the physical card does. And you can renew that card, that little piece of plastic, an unlimited number of times. So it really is a forever green card status. It's just attached to a temporary document.
Okay, let's unpack this. So our mission today is to get to the bottom of that difference, right? The difference between the permanent status and the temporary card. We need to figure out not just how it works, but why you have to renew it, and then walk through the practical stuff, the steps, the timelines, and the safety nets that are in place so you don't feel blindsided.
Let's start with that fundamental truth, right, from USCIS. This is really the aha moment for a lot of people.
Right.
Your lawful permanent resident status, your LPR status, is yours for life. Unless you choose to naturalize and become a citizen or you formally abandon it, that status has no expiration date at all.
So the status is the legal right, but the plastic card in your wallet, that's just the proof.
Just the proof.
And that's the part that expires every 10 years. And we should probably emphasize the law here, right? U.S. law says LPRs 18 and over have to carry valid proof of their status. Always. So the card has to be current, even if the status is permanent.
And it's fascinating when you look at why they do this every 10 years. It feels like just, bureaucracy.
It totally does. It just feels like an expensive check-in every decade. I mean, is this the government's way of just keeping tabs on people, or is there a real security reason?
Oh, there's a real reason. It's almost all driven by anti-fraud and security measures. First, the card technology is always changing. They have to stay ahead of counterfeiters, so a card from, say, 20 years ago would be way too easy to fake.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, you need a current photo. I mean, think about how much someone can change in 10 years. It's just a basic identity verification thing.
Sure.
Third, it's about accurate records. It forces a check-in to make sure the government has your current address and information. People move,
And what's the fourth one?
This is probably the most critical from a security angle. Every renewal includes a new biometrics screening.
A background check.
Background check, exactly. They're not rejudging your eligibility, but they are making sure that nothing has changed, that the person holding the card is still compliant.
You know, the best analogy I can think of is a driver's license. Your right to drive doesn't expire, but the physical license does. You have to get a new picture, pay the fee, get the new plastic card.
That's a perfect analogy. The license proves the status of licensed driver. The green card proves the status of lawful resident.
Although I have to say, my driver's license renewal does not cost almost $500.
No, it does not. And that's a huge difference in why understanding the process is so critical.
Okay, so we've established this is a forever renewal cycle. Let's get down to the brass tacks. What's the actual paperwork involved? Is it the same every single time?
It's exactly the same. Whether it's your first renewal or your fifth, the core of it is one document. Form I-90.
Form I-90.
That's the application to replace permanent resident card. It's what kicks off the whole process with USCIS.
And this is where timing becomes, incredibly important. I've heard this can trip people up.
It really can. USCIS is super specific. You need to file within the 6-month window before your card expires.
And not a day earlier.
Not a single day earlier.
Yeah.
If you file it 6 months and 1 day before expiration, they will reject it. And you have to start all over, pay the fee again, everything.
Wow. Okay, so that timing is critical. And why is it so important to file right in that window?
Because the processing times are just.
Yeah.
They're wild right now. We're not talking weeks. We're talking anywhere from 4 months to, get this, 24 months. Or even longer in some cases.
24 months, 2 years.
2 years.
I want to pause on that for a second. How does that practically affect someone? If you're trying to get a mortgage or start a new job and you're waiting for 2 years, I mean, the anxiety must be immediate.
It is the single biggest stress point. And it used to be a much bigger problem. Think about it. You hand an expired ID to a bank or an HR department, and even with a receipt saying you've applied for a new one, they get nervous.
Right. They don't know the rules.
Exactly. So that anxiety starts the second you mail that form. which is why the solution they came up with recently is so important.
Okay, so let's get to that solution. The big question for anyone waiting is, what happens during that long wait? What do you do for 2 years without a valid card? This is where it gets really interesting.
So the government realized these wait times were just becoming unmanageable for people's lives.
Right.
So now, about 2 to 4 weeks after you file your Form I-90, USCIS mails you a receipt notice. The official name is Form I-797C. This is your lifeline.
Okay, the I-797C, what does that piece of paper actually do?
Like a massive safety net. And this is the detail everyone needs to remember.
Yeah.
As of September 2024, that receipt notice, when you show it with your expired green card,
You need both together.
it automatically extends your card's validity for 36 months, 3 full years from the expiration date.
36 months. That's a huge increase. It used to be, what, like 12 months, maybe 18?
It was. They kept having to extend it because the backlogs just got worse and worse.
Yeah.
So moving to 36 months was basically the government admitting, okay, this might take a while, but we guarantee this temporary proof will last long enough. It provides real peace of mind.
So that's a safety net big enough to cover even the longest delays. So with your expired card and that I-797C notice, you can keep working, you can travel internationally, you can prove your status, no problem.
Precisely. The key is just keeping those 2 documents clipped together in your wallet. The only small hiccup, and it's a minor one, is that little 2 to 4 week gap between when you file and when you actually get the notice in the mail.
Oh, right.
During that tiny window, you don't have the extension letter yet. So if you have urgent international travel planned, it's probably best to wait for that letter to arrive before you go, just to avoid any headaches at the border.
All right, so we've got the rinse and repeat renewal process down, but what if you're just tired of it? Tired of paying the fee every 10 years, tired of the paperwork? Is there a way to just stop the cycle for good?
There is. The definitive alternative path is naturalization, becoming a U.S. citizen.
And that ends the renewal cycle forever.
Forever. You trade your permanent resident status for citizenship, you get a passport, and you never have to think about Form I-90 again.
So who's eligible? What are the main requirements?
There are 2 main tracks. The standard track is for anyone who's been a permanent resident for at least 5 years.
Right.
But there's a faster track. If you've been a permanent resident for at least 3 years and you're married to a U.S. citizen, you can apply sooner.
That's a pretty significant difference, 3 years versus 5.
It really is. But, the decision isn't just about paperwork. Becoming a citizen means passing a civics test, swearing an oath of allegiance. And for some people, depending on their home country's laws, it might mean giving up their original citizenship.
That's a really important point. It's not always a simple choice.
Not at all. And that's why it's perfectly fine to just remain a permanent resident your whole life. Many people do. The system is set up for that. That 36-month safety net exists specifically to support that choice.
So once you naturalize, though, the green card is irrelevant. You get a U.S. passport, full rights, and no more renewal fees.
Absolutely. The cycle is broken.
Okay, for everyone who's decided that, rinsing and repeating every decade is the way to go, let's wrap this up with a quick, actionable checklist. What you need to do every 10 years.
Let's do it.
Step 1, the form. It's Form I-90, and you have to file it in that 6-month window. You can do it online or by mail.
And step 2 is paying the fee. And this is where online versus mail gets interesting.
Oh, there's a price difference.
There is. Right now, it's $415 if you file online, but it's $465 if you file by mail.
$50.
$50. So unless you have a very specific reason you need a paper trail, filing online is cheaper, and you get an instant confirmation that it's been received. It's usually the way to go.
Okay, good tip. Step 3. The biometrics appointment. This is the security part, right?
Yep.
Fingerprints, photo.
Yep, that's for the background check and for producing the new card. It usually happens a few months after you file.
Step 4, you wait, potentially for a long time. And during that wait, you keep that I-797C receipt notice together with your expired card. That is your proof for everything.
Cannot stress that enough. Do not lose that receipt.
And finally, step 5. You get your new 10-year green card in the mail, and then you set a calendar alert for 9.5 years from now.
And the cycle begins again.
Yeah.
If we connect this all to the bigger picture, the whole system, as complicated as it seems, is really about balancing 2 things. Guaranteeing your permanent status while also maintaining modern security.
Right.
The status is permanent. The card is temporary for security. And that 36-month extension letter is the bridge that makes the whole thing work, even with huge government backlogs. It ensures your life isn't disrupted while the bureaucracy does its thing.
So what does this all mean for you as you're thinking about this? You've got this permanent status that just needs a documentation update every so often. So the real question becomes, what's the deciding factor for your path? Is it just the cost and hassle of renewing every decade versus the one-time process of citizenship?
It could be.
Or is it something more specific, like that 3-year versus 5-year track for naturalization? If you're married to a citizen, that 3-year path can get you a U.S. passport and all its protections 2 years faster. That time difference alone might be the biggest factor in deciding whether you keep rinsing and repeating or if you make the move to naturalize. Something to think about. Thanks for diving depth with us. We'll see you next time.